All right, court is calling 2025 CR 0060588 State versus Dorian Camarillo. Can I have parties announced?
I think y'all wait for the state.
Notice Cox for the defendant.
And are you Mr. Camarillo?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so this is actually set on the docket for July 24th. But your attorney is here and you're asking for bond reduction, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and the court will note for the record, you are actually due to be here on June 9th, but jail transportation, the bus was inoperable, so that's why you were not brought here on that date. So you are here for this date. And to the clerks, do double check. I've already signed investigation motion, but I have another one. So if you could just check to see if you all have it or I need to sign another one.
Yes.
All right, State, are you ready to proceed on the motion?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Cox, you may proceed.
All right, Judge, I called. Well, I had the court to take judicial notice that the bond in this case is set at $500,000.
Okay.
Deported. And I call Eric Sepeda. Maria, my Espanol number one. So learns.
Hey, I'm with you. Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up because the court reporter has to hear. Off the record for Cindy, do you want to give her one of those little microphones that may help you? All right, if you'll state your name for the record.
Yes, ma'am. It's Eric Camarillo.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Great, thanks. And ma'am, Dorian Camarillo.
Camarillo.
Okay. Do you see him in the courtroom? Is he in the courtroom with us? Your son?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. In your relationship, you're his mom, right?
Yes.
Okay. In terms of, do you live in San Antonio?
Yes.
Okay, and how long have you lived in San Antonio?
Going to 3 years now.
And presently, you live in a house or apartment?
When we used to live in Dallas, a house.
Okay, but here you live in an apartment now or?
A house.
A house, okay. And who normally lives in that house with you?
My son, my daughter, and myself, and my
Okay,
pets.
now, in terms of your son, Dorian, how old is he?
Dorian, he's 17.
17 years old?
Yeah.
Is he a high school student?
Yes.
What school does he?
Reading high school.
And
All right, just 1 second, off the record. Now, he's already on it, the been appointed, okay. Sorry, Mr. Cox, we were just cleaning up the matter. Mr. Cox, you may continue.
all right, okay. And your son is you indicated he's in high school, correct?
Correct.
And is a Reagan High School,
Yes, sir.
and that high school is in San Antonio.
Correct.
And what grade is he?
11.
Second grade. So you anticipate that he will be graduating high school next year?
2026.
Now, are you employed here in the city?
Yes, sir.
How are you employed?
FedEx ground.
Now, ma'am, you understand that your son's bond is set at $500,000.
Yes, sir.
That's something that you could, with his bond set at $500,000, can you bond it?
We have family things that can help us. Yeah.
But you can't, can you make the $500,000 bond?
500,000. Maybe a little lower. That works for us. Yeah.
Now, your son presently, is he presently employed?
He was, whenever the summer school, that's when he used to work.
Basically, he's a full-time student, correct?
Yes, only on summer he used to do it.
Does he have money in the bank?
No,
Does he own any property?
no,
So we basically, you, in terms of the house where he lives with you.
yes,
You provided basically.
correct.
And you support not only him, but his sister also.
My daughter, yeah,
Okay.
I have a daughter. Also. And my pets.
Okay. Pat Williams.
All right, State.
Ms. Murillo, you said you currently live in San Antonio, is that correct? Okay, and you said you've lived here for about 3 years, is that correct?
Yes,
And you lived in Dallas before that?
20 years.
Okay, do you still have family in Dallas?
Yes.
Okay, does that what does that consist of up in Dallas?
That's family.
Dorian's
dad.
That's Dorian's dad, that's who lives up
The
there.
family.
Okay, and he has family up there as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and did Dorian attend school up in Dallas?
Yes.
Okay, up to what grade did he go to school up there?
We moved from Dallas to Virginia when he was 11.
Okay, and so he attended school from the time he was 11 until 3 years ago in Dallas?
No, he was born in Dallas, my son. So he went to pre-K all the way when he was 11. So then we moved to Virginia for like 3 years. And he attended school over there.
Okay.
And then we moved back to San Antonio.
Okay, so let me see if I'm following you correctly. So Dorian, your son, he was born in Dallas, is that correct?
Yeah.
And so you lived there with his father in Dallas when he was born?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you lived there for some time until Dorian was 11, is that correct?
11.
Okay, and then at that time you moved to Virginia. Okay, and so do you have family in Virginia as well?
No, that's because of daddy's job. He do a construction environment.
Okay, okay, and so did Dorian attend school in Virginia as well?
Yes.
Okay, so it's fair to say he probably has friends still in Dallas and probably in Virginia,
More in Dallas. to
more
be
in
honest.
Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you all moved to San Antonio 3 years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you said that you live in a home currently, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you renting that home or do you own it?
No, we rent.
Okay. And your daughter that you also have to support, how old is she?
My daughter Sabrina, she's 15.
Okay. And so she's not working, is that correct?
No,
Now you said that you work at FedEx, is that correct? Is that full-time or part-time?
kind of like part-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your working hours?
From 3 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
Okay. And what is your hourly rate that you get paid?
$20.
$20 an hour?
Mhm.
Do you get any extra compensation for working like a differential shift overnight?
No.
No?
Mhm.
Okay. And how many hours per week do you work?
25,
25.
27 sometimes.
Okay, at $20 per hour.
Mhm.
So you stated that have you contacted any bonding companies yet?
Yes,
Okay, about how many have you contacted?
like 2 of them.
2, okay. And you stated that you've kind of started to gather family to help you.
Yes.
Okay, and so that's a resource that you have, your family is willing to help you to make a bond, is that
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. That's correct.
Okay, and you stated Dorian in the summers that he used to be employed, where did he used to work at?
With daddy.
Oh, in the construction,
Mhm.
okay. And so, do you have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you own that car?
No, I'm paying it off.
Okay. We have to listen, sir.
Any further questions?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you. I'll leave with the court reporter.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We rest.
All right, state you can have a seat. State any witnesses?
Witnesses, Judge, but at this time we offer states exhibit number 1 for the purposes of this hearing.
Any objections?
Objection, Judge, that is not evidence. They're proffering. I presented evidence. So that proper. And this is not evidence. So I would object to it. That's grounds.
All right, that,
On probable cause hearing, I think sometimes you can use hearsay and those type of things, but for evidentiary hearing,
but also for bond reductions, correct? because the rules of evidence don't apply to bond reductions. Am I incorrect?
I think for a, well, someone, but my position that is that someone would have to be the person that they would present the evidence. Just by, I can put in a encyclopedia and say, well, just look at this.
Mhm.
Someone would need to be able to make the correct profit. I don't think the correct profit.
Okay. All right, the objection will be overruled and the court will will review State's Exhibit number 1 just for purposes of this hearing. And if y'all will step back while I read this. Mr. Camarillo? All right, the court has read State's Exhibit number 1. And Mr. Camarillo, the court is reading State's Exhibit number 1 really for the sole purpose of making a determination on what your bond should be set at. That will ensure the safety of the community and also ensure that you appear at court.
Yes, John.
That's what this entire hearing about. The State's Exhibit number 1 is not for me to review it in light of, does the state prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt? Because that's something where witnesses will be called and your attorney can make objections and you may have hearsay objections and other type of objections. So this is strictly for me to review that, take in consideration the testimony of your mother and decide what your bond should be set at. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I've reviewed the documents, I've heard the testimony, and the court will hear argument on bond requests.
Since it's my motion that I waive opening and reserve to closing.
It's so rare that defense attorneys get a chance to do that. When I see it, I like to see it. All right, State.
Judge, at this time, we're requesting that you keep the bond at 500,000. I think what came out during the testimony, well, in addition to State's Exhibit number 1 and the safety aspect of this offense, in addition to what came out in the testimony is that the defendant does not really have sufficient ties here to the community in Bear County. I believe that he's a flight risk based on the testimony that he has sufficient ties, mostly in Dallas, but also avenues in Virginia. Further, the testimony is that they have began reaching out to bond companies and have additional members of the family to help make the bond. So we believe that it's set in a sufficient amount and would request that you keep it at 500,000.
All right, and Mr. Cox,
Okay.
if you don't mind, if I could take up Miss Russell's case,
Oh, that's
only
fine.
because she has to travel to take care of another client.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right, a CPS client. So if you'll just have a seat, if I could see the parties on Christina Cox. She said that she had someone who had a child reunification meeting, so.
No problem.
All right, so we're back on the record. In 2025 CR 0060588, State versus Dorian Camarillo. The parties re-announced.
Megan Galloway for the state.
Cornelius Scott for the defendant.
All right, and so we were proceeding with closing arguments and the defense had reserved their
Yes.
closing. You may proceed, counsel.
Judge, one thing I noticed, most times when the state make their positions on bond, they go, if the person has a prior record, that's one of the first things that over here. Nothing, solid. Kind of doesn't have a prior record. Secondly, it appears that when the original bond was set in this case, the original charge was capital murder.
Mhm.
That charge has been reduced. As everyone knows, capital murder would be if you were convicted, it would be life without parole, or possibly the death penalty. Not in his case because of his years. So we're not talking about those type of situations. We're actually talking about a first degree. So what I'm asking the court to do in this case is set the bond, which is typically set in a case where there's a first degree. Now, the state proper state exhibit number 1 in even in that proper, it doesn't suggest that my client shot anyone or urged anybody to do that. It appears that the person that is deceased was a person that was allegedly in a vehicle, and it never an indication that my client at all did anything in terms of physically to harm this person. It appears that the perhaps the victim in alleged aggravated robbery actually shot and killed a.
So this is one of those cases, I believe, where you have the alleged defendants in a vehicle and the complainant is alleged to have shot one of the people in the vehicles, but it's also alleged that it was in the process of persons in the vehicle committing an offense. That's one of those Texas rules.
The bond.
Murder, yes.
So you have to do a lot of twisting and turning
Mhm.
and maneuvering in terms of understanding. So my position, Judge, is that if it's murder case, first degree, at this point, we just want the bond set where a first degree case would normally be set. And my position is that is typically around the $100,000 mark, maybe up to $150,000 mark. I'm just asking the court we have a young man who's still in high school, to set it at somewhere in that area, even if the court needs the assurance of a electronic monitor, to have it monitored at all times. And that's fine, that's understandable. We just feel that to keep it, if the state reduces the charge, just with the court, the magistrate originally set it at $500,000 based on allegations of a capital murder. And that case is reduced, then we just feel that the bond should be reduced to what is typical in a first degree situation. And that's all we're asking for, something that's in that.
Okay. All right. So what I can tell parties, and I want to make sure it's clear, because on what I have on the docket sheet, it says capital murder. So it's no longer listed as a capital murder. Is that correct?
That's great.
That's the indictment.
The indictment.
Felony murder and count 2 aggravated robbery.
Okay. All right. Anything else to put?
No.
And as a condition of his probation, as a condition of his bond, is one of his conditions already for GPS or no?
Well, the copy that I had was, it was a blank copy, so, but I would imagine that it would be GPS.
All right, let me just. I'm trying to look up his conditions of bond. It's not in my system. I don't have that in my Odyssey, at least what I have access to.
Judge, when I look at the notes on the jailing of the defendant, it says GPS full house arrest, no contact with the family of Hayden Holt, no firearms, and random drug / alcohol test.
Okay. All right, this is what the court will do. Okay. All right, what I can say is based upon what the court has read and states exhibit one, number one, and state, is it correct? That this defendant does not have any prior cases? All right, so based upon what the court is reading in states exhibit number one, based upon the evidence that has been tendered, in just one moment. This is what the court is going to do. Court is going to set the bond at $250,000 with all previous conditions to include full GPS. There's to be no contact with Roberto Monreal, Esteban Torres, the family of Hayden Holt, Dorian, I'm sorry, there is another person. What is Harris's name?
Joseph.
And also Joseph Harris. All right, any other conditions you would like added, state, or are you requesting?
Judge, if I could just see the states.
Yes.
There's, the conditions that you had Eric Sepeda, is that correct?
No, I did not put down Eric. You say Eric?
Yeah.
And that's Sepeda with the S?
Yes.
All right, and no contact with Eric Sepeda.
And then one other person. There's Janelle, I know his last name. If I could just have something.
Sure. And Norma, can you give Mr. Camarillo a reset form in case he makes bond? And it should be for July 24th.
That was Eric Sepeda,
Roberto Monreal, Esteban Torres, Joseph Harris, and the family of Hayden Holt.
I believe that's all you're.
All right, anything else?
I have a request
Yes,
for employment,
I'm sorry, what?
for employment.
No. I'm not going to allow you to have employment. You're going to be on full GPS. That means that you have a location and you cannot leave that location. If your family is going, we can go off the record, if your family is going to the Whataburger, or is it Whataburger? I don't know.
What, I think it's what.
Whataburger,
What,
or Burger King, or wherever they may be, or to HEB, you're not allowed to go. You are staying at whatever location that GPS is at. Do you understand?
Understand?
So if your GPS is for you to be at a specific residence, because you have to have a residence in order to have GPS, you cannot leave that residence. And the way those GPSs are now, they're very sensitive. So what does that mean? If your family is having a cookout in your backyard, you can't go to the backyard to get your plate. They'll have to bring it to you. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You can't go to the mailbox. It's going to go off. And if there's a violation of that GPS, what's going to end up happening, somebody's going to review the violation report. They're probably going to issue a judge's warrant, and then we will discuss it later and evidence be presented. And if that evidence is enough to show that you violated your GPS, a judge may remand you without bond. Do you understand?
Understand.
All right. Anything else? Thank you.
Oh, with we waive fees on the GPS.
I'll ask that fees are, now that is an excellent question. I'll ask that fees are waived.
Oh, thank you.
3 of the 4 people charged in connection with the shooting death of a 20-year-old are facing lesser charges. So the story that we're talking about here is Hayden Lee Holt. He was shot and killed in Selma back on February 23rd. Investigators say that it happened during a botched robbery. Initially, 4 people had been charged with capital murder, but now 18-year-old Joseph Harris has been indicted on an evading arrest charge, and the other 3, who you see there, Roberto Monreal, Dorian Camarillo, and Eric Sepeda, who are all 17 years old, are charged with murder, and it's unclear now when they're going to be back in court.
Let's get the facts straight. She loves a verbal ashtray. Never blowing smoke when she gets pissed. She's quick to castrate. Love her on a good day, love her on a bad day. Either way, she's here to stay, stay, stay. Call up holy, 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 holy.